Hello everyone, I'm Rikicho12 and welcome to my video about the problems with water cooling. So let's start the video.
Always keep me up, never bring me down. No more faking now.
So it is no myth that in pretty much every budget build from about $750 to even below that, you'll notice that they usually do not have water cooling in them. And that is because water cooling is expensive. I'm not talking about all-in-one water coolers that only cool your CPUs. No, those are fine. They're cheap enough to fit in a budget build. I'm talking about that kind of water cooling that YouTubers or Terry Crews or some people that have, like this guy, surprisingly a lot of money. That guy has either been saving since he was 1 year old to buy that, or he is a CEO of a company. Yep, by the way, that zero is not a mistake. It actually is $30,000, the most expensive build on PC part picker. Absolutely insane. So why exactly don't they include water cooling in a budget build? Well, let's check out the prices and see exactly how much a full water cooling kit is. So I checked Newegg.com and this is what I popped up with: a water cooling kit by Thermaltake. This is $299.99 USD. The good thing about this one is that it actually comes with thermal paste and some coolant, but some kits don't even come with that and cost more. Here, I'll show you another one right here. So I hopped onto Microsoft and I found this, the EKWD water cooling kit. It says on the box this is just a starter cooling kit. Then why is it $375? That's right, more expensive than the Thermaltake one. Not only is it $375, but this thing doesn't even have thermal compound or, coolant built in with the box, just like the Thermaltake one did. Okay, well, that's not it, right? I look at the pictures and I look at the description, and you can see that that EK reservoir is smaller than the Thermaltake one, and it's more expensive. Why? Why is it $75 more expensive for a smaller reservoir? And it doesn't even have a thermal compound, and coolant built in. Could it just be because it's EK? Guys, it's EK. That's why.
Yeah.
So it is a waste of time. I find it personally a waste of time. Like, you are getting absolute silent, most of the time silent cooling for your PC, and it looks cool. Yeah, it does look cool, I gotta admit. I like watching videos of people doing water cooling because it looks really cool in the end and see how it turns out. But I still find it a waste of time. Like, come on. The main reason why people water cool in the first place is because they have a CPU that they can overclock. And you could get better temps even with a regular CPU, but you could do the same exact thing with air cooling and spend less money. Observe, I got the CPU cooler from Cooler Master right here, right? Under $30. And guess what? You might have low enough temperatures with this CPU cooler to overclock your CPU, if of course it can support it. It really depends on your motherboard and your CPU. If you could buy this fan, then why spend so much time paying for this kit and then later on leak testing it, doing this, doing that, setting it up, making sure all the liquid's okay, mixing the liquid, making it perfect, and making sure everything's hooked up properly, making sure there's no leaks once again? Why do you spend over 15 hours, depending on who you are, time just sitting here testing and seeing if your liquid cooling is perfect? Just get air cooling. It's cheaper and it's better, and you could definitely get some pretty good results. Definitely, maybe not as good as water cooling, but close enough. And you don't even have to spend $300 on water cooling. Don't even start with bending PETG tubing. Oh boy, the amount of videos I have seen about fails with bending PETG tubing. If I could have $1 with each of them, I'd have at least $100 at this point. At the amount I've seen, bending PETG tubing is hard. Depending on who you are, obviously, it takes a lot of different things. You need a keen eye, you need a heat gun, you need proper care. You have to know when to stop heating up the tube. It takes a lot of process, and I've seen a bunch of people fail at it. It can be a pretty hard thing to do, especially if you're just beginning water cooling. Oh boy, the amount of tube you will waste just trying to bend it. It is why all of these tube runs you'll see are mainly really flimsy, because unless you're some kind of Jay's 2 cents, you won't be able to bend your tube very easily. And don't even try unless you really, really, really know what you are doing. It is super, super, super hard to do it. And it also brings me back to my point of waste of time. You're wasting your time bending some tubing. Goodness, just try using some 90s. But wait, by the way, I mean 90-degree, little angle thingies. But this brings me to my next point. I give you the worst problem in a water cooling setup: leaks. So let's say, boom, you slap your CPU onto your motherboard. Alright, there we go, as you just saw in that wonderful clip I just recorded. Well, instead of putting your air cooler, CPU air cooler, just like that clip, you're gonna slap on a CPU water cooling block. I don't have a clip of that, so I can't, I just have to put in a different image of that. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, you slap on your CPU water cooling block. Okay, so you decide, let's make a custom water loop. So you make your loop and you turn on your PC, you do a benchmark on it, play some games, and boom, there's a leak nearby your CPU block, and it fries your electronics. Oh boy. You see, for anyone that isn't an expert on computers, motherboards, or basically any single piece of circuit board, electronics and water do not mix well. And last time I checked, there are no water resistant components in a computer. It's only your iPhone, man. Sorry about that. So there you go. There goes your PC. So now you have to rebuild all the parts. Now you most likely even have to probably put in your brand new water loop, because you have to fix your water loop. So you have to spend probably even more money for that. It's just a huge, gigantic issue, and it brings back to my point: a waste of time. It is a waste of time to spend so much time only to have a leak. Now, luckily, people do leak test heavily, and that's what I would recommend if you do decide to water cool your PC heavily. And I mean, test the crap out of your water cooling system. Put paper towels on the electronics to make sure to limit any spillage. So as you can see in that little picture right there, that is how you can most properly test your water cooling. Make sure to also test if you're under load, to make sure, because I know some issues could happen with water cooling where when you're under load for your PC, which means you're using it a lot, it could have a huge issue where it could still leak. Also, bring back to my point about the 90-degree fittings. The fittings, Jay's 2 cents once described that the more 90-degree fittings and kind of like at an angle fittings you use, the more issues you will have. So he said that this is kind of like an O-ring problem before the little bracket. It is basically the more fittings you use, the more chance you have of leaks. it's a huge issue. You have to be super, super careful. And you have to really, truly know what you are doing in a water cooling system, which is why I do not recommend it. And that is my last point. Thank you so much for watching this. Without you, the viewer, this video wouldn't be anything. If you guys would like to see an air cooling episode where I talk about the problems with air cooling, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see it. Thank you once again for watching this. I'm Marquisha102. Peace out.
Yeah.